Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Hayden with the Hill Pursuit Podcast. Today is episode 57 of the show. This is our second episode that we're putting onto our YouTube channel. So if you haven't yet, like, subscribe, check out our stuff, and we hope to post some content at least weekly. So you'll have access to all of our podcast episodes from here on out. Any and everything else that we post, some training videos, some other small things like that. So check it out. But in today's episode 57 of the show, we talk about temperatures heating up and some issues with training that come about. Mitch starts to discuss another podcast that he listened to recently where a scientist was discussing some thermoregulatory responses to training, some things that people can do in acute sessions to like almost like cooling effects, to induce some cooling effects in hot environments, and another small discussion on the immune system as well. So we kind of nerd out a little bit there, but then we kind of dive into the Ironman World Championships from St. George this past weekend, which was really, really awesome. If you didn't have a chance to watch that footage, you really should go back and do so. Super inspirational, very hot also, but some absolutely great racing and just super inspirational, incredible athletes to watch. So go check that out. We talk about that a little bit. And then Mitch discusses some testing that he's doing for a new program, talks about the front squat, no back squatting, talking about the front squat primarily, a little bit of bench press, a little bit of some other stuff as well. His back's feeling good, so that's good to hear. And then lastly, we just kind of wrap up. I talk a little bit about some races that are coming up for me. 1 month away from a big one, 1 week away from a smaller one. But that's really it for today's episode. We hope you enjoyed this episode 57 of the Hill Pursuit Podcast. Hey, what's up, man? How we doing?
Good, brother. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing good. It's good to be back. It's good to have another cast in the evening here. What do we got? May 12th. Things are rolling quick.
Hey, man. Thermostat's getting turned up too in my place.
Yeah, for real. Last few days have been insane here. We've had mid 80s all day today. It was almost like, not for me personally. I did run recently, but I wasn't able to run in like the heat of the day, so I had to run in the morning. But I know some people who ran in like the middle of the day, like for some long runs, and just had some issues,
Oh,
because it's been in the 40s in the past, for quite a while, and all of a sudden, boom, 86 degrees and blazing hot. And dude, that's a big issue for a lot of people, going from basically 0 to 100.
oh, dude. Like I don't know if it's a physiological thing, but man, if it's like 40 degrees out and then 2 days later, if for some reason it gets over 75, dude, I'm sweating. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if I'm just not accustomed to it. But yeah, it's weird. So it's definitely been hotter. Like you saying that, we're not going to go down this path maybe another day. But I was actually listening to a podcast the other day. They're talking to the guy is a Jocko podcast, and he had I think the guy's a neuroscientist, but big in the training, like big. He's a big guy. I think I don't know if he competes, but he definitely is hard in the weight room. Big in like diet, and he was talking a lot about like thermal regulating your body. I actually wanted to bring it up to you, and he was talking about a lot of he studies a lot how people can get more out of a session or in between sets. He's like, you see a lot of people that if they're starting to get hot or they're sweating, and I mean, I think most of us have probably been culprit or done this, put like a wet towel on the back of your neck. And he's
Yeah.
like that. He's like, it honestly will get you in trouble because your body's already trying to fight. It's just going to keep your body temperature. It's going to raise it even more because you're just putting something cool on your neck, so it's going to try to counteract that as well. And he was talking about like essentially putting your hands I don't know why, but putting your hands under your feet, so like the palm of your hands to your feet. So I don't know if it's like the warm on warm, where your body's like, okay, now I got to cool myself down, and kind of use it the same thing. Like if you're cold and you come in and you take a hot shower, um, your body's going to want to cool itself down still, because your body's still warm. So it's like people try to do the exact opposite of what's going on. It was a brilliant podcast. It was awesome, and he was like talking about stress. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I wish I could remember. Maybe for next time I'll remember it. But he was talking about like stress and the immune system, and like how hot and cold showers can benefit your body, like coming off a stressful time. It was really cool. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, dude, that sounds awesome. I love that thermoregulation talk too.
Yeah, dude,
Be-
it's like a 5-hour podcast, man. Like they went in deep.
yeah.
So, mhm,
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I mean, I listen to that from time to time. I haven't recently, but
yeah,
um yeah, I love that stuff. And there, there's a lot of really cool research on, thermoregulatory responses and like protective mechanisms that you can do
mhm,
in real time to try and stay cool and avoid
yeah,
overheating.
exactly.
And a lot of it does. It's interesting you said that. A lot of it does deal with extremities
Mhm,
and hands and feet, because those are the when your body is in an extreme environment, your body's essentially going to preserve as much blood flow and oxygen to the core
mhm,
as it can, as like a protective mechanism. So you get less blood flow and oxygen delivery to your extremities. So if you can manipulate the extremities at all, you can mess with the redistribution of blood flow. And obviously that relates to temperature as well. And I guess what he's probably alluding to is like a way to shift temperature somehow. Whatever, doesn't matter. That's really cool. I like that stuff. I like nerding out a little bit like that, and I like
yeah,
talking about the immune system too. Really interests me, so I'll definitely have to check that out. That's
yeah, I
pretty
actually
sweet.
just looked his name up. His name is Andrew Huberman,
Okay,
Huberman. So yeah, check him out. I looked him
that's
up a little
cool.
bit, but yeah, definitely cool stuff.
Yeah, that's sweet. Well,
Mhm,
speaking of crazy heat, I know you
mhm,
probably weren't in this world, but this past weekend was the Ironman World Championships,
okay,
and it was in St. George, Utah, and it was insane. I
really,
like it's hard to explain, but I watched as much as I possibly could of like an 8 hour an 8 hour endurance event, this full Ironman triathlon, just to try to get any nugget I could, from watching these people swim like fish and put out 30 miles an hour plus and on the bike, and run 520 miles in the last 10K of a marathon at the end of all that. Like, it really just blew my mind. And, you know, it blows my mind more now that I'm in the sport of triathlon.
mhm,
I've always known what it was, and I haven't always watched it, but I've always seen it. And,
right,
I've seen the times, and it didn't really mean much to me. But this year, especially, because this is like really my second full year in the sport, I guess, knowing what it takes in training just to get to a certain level, like my level, which is literally like no level, no level, but the dedication that it takes in training to get to your own best, and then to see the elite of the whole world just like smoking it. It was just crazy to watch. It was just my jaw was on the floor. I'm watching these people in the water just carve just carve through the water, like unreal, like literally double, like twice as fast as I can swim.
yeah,
Insane, so fast. And I'm not even a slow swimmer. It's just so fast, so crazy. Um, but yeah, that event is typically held in Kona, um, and I guess because of COVID, they delayed it. Um, they delayed the world championship, and they had to push it. I don't think they had to do this, but they were looking for a different site, like a different location, and St. George volunteered. They already had an Ironman plan, so there were like a bunch of age group athletes at the event also alongside, the elite athletes, which is really, really cool. But um, it turned out to be an absolutely insane course. The swim was pretty standard. I think, if you're super into the sport, correct me if I'm wrong, but the swim seemed pretty standard. The bike was super hilly, tons of elevation change. And then the run seemed to be a little bit of a rolling run, with one or two really big hills where people were like shuffling a little bit, even the pros. But the heat humidity was insane. Like,
Really?
yeah, it was really, really bad. And it wasn't bad for the pros. It was really bad for the age group athletes. So just like the regular people, because they're out on the course for like an additional 6 hours,
Yeah.
and it just got way, way worse. And people were just dragging and quitting and pulling out of the race and getting pulled out of the race. And it was just crazy to watch. Crazy to watch. I love watching it, and I love watching at the high level. And it was just a really, really cool day. I don't know. We weren't really texting about it or anything, but that's basically my 2 cents. I don't know. What
You
do you?
definitely you definitely let me know about it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know that. But I mean, that's just ridiculous, man. I mean, that's why they are where they are. You know,
yeah,
it's,
yeah,
um, man, that's crazy. Utah getting that hot already. What is it, May?
yeah.
Uh,
It was blistering apparently.
now are they is there a run? Is it on a road?
It was. Yep, it was on a road.
It is, okay.
Yep,
I was just curious of how they did that.
yep. I'm pretty sure for those big ones they closed the course off, but none of the ones I've been in have been closed courses. You just have to watch for cars.
Okay.
But
Then the
yeah,
lake, like,
it
are they
didn't
swim,
look what
is it swim in a lake out there?
I don't know what they were swimming in. Yeah, probably. I
Yeah.
forget where they were swimming in, but um yeah, for the most part it's a lake. There's a couple races that are like open ocean, which is pretty neat to see, but yeah, I don't know what body of water they were in.
What did the
But
first ones take? Like, what's the time of like an athlete like that at that level?
the first the first female, I say the first female because she came to mind first. Daniela Reef, she won in like 8:35 or something like that, and it was her fifth ever world championship. So that was pretty intense.
Hmm.
And then the guy was faster. He was 7:50 was his first, or was his time. And the first time he ever competed in a full distance Ironman was the Olympics, and he got gold in that. So um, apparently he's making a move. Pretty sure he's a Norwegian. His name's Christian Blumenfeld, and the Norwegians are like, long story short, they're training differently than a lot of other people. They're using actual blood lactate values in a lab setting to train right at and right beneath lactate threshold to get the most benefit out of their session. Whereas like people like you and me will just kind of guess where that's at, and
Yeah.
sometimes we're too high where we're not getting a good enough return on our investment. So they're the way that the Norwegians have been training has been in the news and in some research lately, and it's pretty neat. Like they're one of the first teams that's training with actual physiological um, data in real time, like on the bike, pushing out 400 watts, looking at their blood lactate to see what it is. Pretty neat. Anyway, the dude is a beast, and what's really cool is he's somewhat of a non-traditional body type, which I love to see. A lot of people were like kind of like insulting him because he didn't look like a rail like the rest of like a really tiny thin guy. He was a little bit more muscly, a little bit bigger guy, and um, it's nice to see that. In my opinion, I mean that's how it's kind of how we both are. We both carry a little bit of extra weight and um, value resistance training. I don't know what he does, but he looks like he does a little bit of everything. That's all. Looks like a regular athlete, not just like only an endurance athlete. And he still smoked it. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Anyway, that's
And like,
a
yeah, I just have a question too, because like I'm
yeah.
not in the world, and just like people that are listening. Now, what is in someone that's an average racer? What's a good time for them to finish, or what's an average, like someone, someone just getting into the sport, or someone that's just, you know, that's it's like a hobby more than a
Yeah.
profession.
Well, first of all, my initial response would be um an average triathlete would like probably wouldn't finish an Ironman.
Hmm.
So that's my first response is that if you're finishing, you're already a little bit above average. I would say an average Ironman finish, I think,
Yeah, that's what.
is between like 12 and a half and 13 and a half,
Yeah,
or
that's what my.
maybe 12 and a half and 14 and a, somewhere in there. But a honestly, I feel like I heard that somewhere. I don't have like data to support that. I'm not sure. I was 14 and a half. For me, it didn't really matter as my first one. I was just like ecstatic that I finished. So, um, yeah, I don't think the first time you run an Ironman as a regular athlete, I don't think you really have an expectation. But there is still an average time because you can calculate it. So I would guess it's around 13, somewhere in there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was just curious. I mean, just
Yeah, 12 and a half, 13, somewhere in
in the
there. But
ballpark. Yeah, because I mean,
yeah,
yeah, that's not.
yeah,
I'm not in that world. Besides,
yeah.
I mean, talking to you, so well, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Anyways, long way around around the intro, but not really an intro. What have you been doing lately for training?
Yeah, so I kind of just been messing around the last 2 weeks. Well, yeah, kind of like the last 2 weeks, and then I just w went on the Mountain Tactical. I just took a program from them. I believe it's called their Ruger program. It's part of like the like a six total, six different programs, I think. Don't quote me on that. It could be couple less or a couple more. But it's like pretty much the first one you do, and it's just you work your way through. I think it's I can look right now. Um, so I knew I needed to test. I kind of going out. I hate doing this, but I try to follow any program that I pick up. I try to follow it verbatim, like pretty much to a
Yeah,
T.
yeah,
But before I so it's 7 weeks. Um, so before I got it, I kind of there's an overview on all their programs, and I seen that I needed to test my front squat. So I ended up doing that the other night, which I should have just waited because it was already built into the program. So I'm ended up kind of nixing a couple of the first week things, which it'll all come back around. I know most of my numbers anyway.
yeah,
Um, so and I was actually had two pretty intense days the last 2 days. So I was kind of actually a little beat up today. Not in a bad way, in a good way, just pretty stiff. So I moved. I put my sled or pushed my sled around pretty good. I knew it was one of them ones like I was stiff, but if I moved and did some mobility, I knew I would just loosen right up. So I pushed my sled around, and then I dove into my first session today and felt good. It was a little bit of, so it's all front squat. I'm not going to have a barbell on my back. Um,
okay. So no back squats, just all front squats.
yeah. So it's all front squat. I tested it the other day. Um, I worked up to I think 315, no belt. That felt pretty good. My back and my glute held up. So then today I
Oh,
dove in.
good, good.
Yeah, I was happy. It's still a little bit weird, but nothing crazy. So today, first it was worked up to what was it? I think it was like two. Hold on a sec. I have my sure I keep my training book up here when we do this. I worked up to 235 for four, and then it was 5 by 4 every 90 seconds at 250. which that caught up to me. And it was the same thing for the bench. I went right into the bench. I worked up to 230 for 4, and then 5x4 every 90 seconds at 245. And I finished with the deadlift, same setup. And then it was like 5x5 pull-ups at the end.
Nice.
Pretty much like the overall program, it's definitely strength related, and then a lot of it does do some conditioning, obviously. So I know I have to test like my 3 mile run, and then does it's like an overall, just like pretty much being an athlete. Um, so that'll feel good to do. So we'll see how I progress forward. So I'm just glad I felt, because today was the first time I deadlifted in a long time, and it wasn't anything heavy, but things held up. So I was happy
Yeah.
with that.
Nice. You got a pup in the background,
I
eh?
don't know what they're going off at.
Yeah.
I got two of them at my house right now. I don't know what they're.
Oh, nice. Nice. Well, dude, that's sweet. Yeah, I've been lifting a lot more myself, which is really fun. I had a down week last week, and I say down week because it's a down like swim bike run
Okay.
week. And when that's the case, I just kind of I like lifting more on those weeks. So I think I lifted 5 times last week, which is great for me. Like I never get that frequency.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
this week was like 3, I think, and um, or 2 or 3. I may get another one in tomorrow, but yeah, that's been a lot of fun. I'm feeling really, really strong. Um, Feeling good on the water. I had some really great riding sessions lately. So back to the old um, adage of, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Mhm.
I do some of the same cycling workouts week to week, every few weeks. You know what I mean? So I had one come up earlier this week that I had done before. It
Uh-huh.
was it was basically 5 by 4 minutes at 100 to like 115% of my FTP. So that's a fancy way of saying 5 intervals of 4 minutes long at really high power output for me. You know what I mean? Relative for me. So, and I remember doing that workout before and just absolutely failing, like not being able to hold the watts, um, quitting like in the middle of it and then trying to hold on or dropping the watts. And this week, don't get me wrong, that's a hard session to be at 100 or 110%
Yeah.
for 20 minutes, total. Um, but I completed it and felt very strong the whole time.
Good.
And it was just like I texted my friend and I was like, "Dude, I'm feeling very good." Like that was a great indicator for me in terms of my bike fitness. So, and then I
What's the
had a
rest in between there?
what's that?
What's the rest in between the sets?
2 minutes.
Phew. That's
And yeah, I know it comes around fast. And that's
Mhm.
not the whole workout. It was like a 90-minute workout. So just like long warm up, a couple bursts, and then that's the main working set. So anyway, that one came back around, and I actually didn't know it was coming back around until like the night before. I looked at it and I was like, oh well, we'll see how this goes. But yeah, I was feeling good, and it went really well.
Good.
Some similar stuff on some runs lately. So dude, I haven't been wearing my Garmin watch at all, like at all. It's been like damaging the backs of my wrists. You can see that a little bit. I don't know if I
Yeah.
can get that in there. Yeah, right there. It's been
Mhm.
damaging the back of my wrist a little bit because the heart rate sensor on the back is like scratched.
Mhm.
So I literally haven't worn it in like 2 weeks, which feels really strange. I have a Timex I just wear throughout the day, so I still wear a watch, but um, I'm not relying on it in training, which is really cool. And it feels really weird, but um, it's been like different and like freeing somewhat. It's really
Yeah.
strange. But anyway, so I haven't been wearing it, and in that time, I've had some really good runs. So I don't know exactly how far I'm running when I, run without a watch because it doesn't have I don't know the GPS. But for the most part, I'm pretty close to like guessing landmarks on some typical runs that I go on. And I know that I've been running really, really strong and I feel really good. So, um, I actually, dude, today is 1 month exactly is Eagle Man 70.3, and a week, not this weekend, but next weekend is my first race of the season. I guess I had a road running race earlier this year, but my first triathlon is Olympic on Saturday or Sunday next week. I think it's Sunday. So I'm looking forward to that. The water's going to be freezing. I was gonna get in an open water swim on Monday, but I ended up not being. This coming Monday, I forgot that I'm busy. So the first time I'm gonna be in open water is for the race where I have to swim a mile. So I don't really have an issue with that. It's gonna be freezing. That's the only issue. But um, yeah, I'm freaking excited. I'm ready to. I kind of need like a little bit of reinforcement, like with this sport, you just train nonstop. You do some of the same workouts over and over, go run for 90 minutes. Sometimes it just gets a little bit boring. It's not going to keep me from doing it at all. Like I know the benefit of doing longer stuff that might feel boring as you're doing it. Like I know the benefit. Um, but
I think
I'm
you
just
I think
go
you get
ahead.
hungry for the competition.
That's
That's
what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm ready to see it pay off a little bit, And
yeah.
the Olympic is quick enough that I'm literally just gonna gas it. I'm just I'm just gonna go as hard as I can the whole time on everything, and why not? Because it's a mile swim that should take me 20 minutes. Hopefully 20 minutes, low 20s. Like I said, I'm not a slow swimmer, but I'm not the best swimmer. Like 20 minutes, 22 minutes, whatever. And the bike is 25 miles. So that's a little bit over an hour. And then it's a 10K. And I'm just going to completely foot on the gas the whole time and just see what happens. Um, because those are all easy distances, and I'm feeling really good. So I'm just going to see what my capacity is and make some mistakes maybe and just go from there and readdress those issues for the bigger, more important races.
Yeah, sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But what else is going on? Anything else you want to chat about? We're kind of there.
Yeah, I think we're at a good stopping point for this one.
Yeah.
Um, Definitely want to look into this neuroscientist a little bit more and talk about him in the future because he also talked a lot about like sleep and he dove into the sleep world a little bit.
It,
Um,
it's that I'm laughing because it's all the topics that this you said this guy's talking about. It's literally off the syllabus of my ex phys class.
yeah,
It literally sounds exactly like the stuff I was talking about this semester. It's
I was kind
crazy.
of like dying to tell you about it. Honestly, after listening to it, which was cool. They would start off very basic, and then it would get super scientific, and
Yeah.
then they were able to bring it back to the basics, which I liked because by the end of it, in my head, I didn't listen to the whole 5 hours yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's some cool stuff, and some of it's super basic,
Yeah.
um, and it's just a lot of recovery stuff, pretty much.
I like
Um,
I like the basic stuff a lot. Like I obviously like some specific topics that go super in depth into scientific evidence and research based
yeah,
evidence, stuff like that. But um, I like when that information is presented in a way that anyone can hear it, see it, read it, and then get value from it. I think that's
exactly.
really really important. And I almost I would say I like that presentation of information a little bit better than the super micro level of things. Although that's really important too.
Yeah,
And
I think there's the
I'm in that world a little bit, so I value that as well. But yeah, that's really cool. I'm gonna look into him as well, and definitely gonna listen to that podcast in the weight room or something tomorrow.
cool.
But yeah, that we'll wrap this one up. This was episode 57. Hill
Yeah.
Pursuit Podcast. If you're looking for ways to reach out to us, find us on social, at Hill Pursuit, Facebook, Instagram. Check out the rest of our YouTube videos. We just kind of started up that channel. We'll try to create some videos and post some stuff regularly, at least weekly. You'll have the podcast episodes now, from time to time, maybe some training videos and just some small things here and there. So be sure you like and subscribe to all that stuff. And if you'd like to check out the website, hillpursuit.com, please do. You can check out the blog and any and every episode of previous podcast episodes listed there for you. And lastly, if you want to have a conversation, please reach out to us, hillpursuit@gmail.com. We would love to chat with you, answer questions, help you out however we can. That's all we got this time. Thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next time.